This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon. I'm Meredith Barrick. Temps warmer than what we're used to this time of year. It's kind of been the trend so far this January. Thankfully, though, it is dry outside, Todd, and we're going to dry up all that rainfall that we had over the past few days.
And it was a lot, 2 to 4 inches of rain Friday and Saturday as expected. And you mentioned these temperatures. They haven't moved much here so far this morning, but they are running above normal. Our normal high this time of year is 35 degrees, so we are above that number already at the noon hour. But with the solid clouds that we've had, that's why these temperatures have been steady. But as these clouds start to thin out just a little bit, that's when these numbers should take a jump in the forward direction for us. And here's a live look from IMS back towards downtown Indianapolis. With the clouds in place and all that moisture on the ground, it still kind of has that damp feel out there. Even though we're not expecting any additional precipitation throughout the course of the day today, it kind of just has that dreary feel. And you can see the clouds were trying to break apart, but they just filled right back in throughout the course of the morning hours. So we're never going to get rid of the cloud cover, but there will be, I think, the thinning of the clouds. And what that's going to do, again, is just to allow the temperature to come up a couple degrees here this afternoon. So we'll talk about above normal temperatures here into the low 40s. Then temperatures will be in the upper 30s, holding steady throughout the evening hours. But much of this week will be above normal. There is also some rain heading our direction. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. New this midday, we now know the identity of the man killed in a Sunday morning shooting on the city's northwest side. Officers were called to Bastille Lane in the Lafayette Villas neighborhood around 3:30 Saturday morning. That's near 56th and Lafayette Road. When they arrived, they found 24-year-old Omari Khan with a gunshot wound. Khan later died at a hospital. This midday, police are still trying to track down leads on this case. Right now, members of the group Moms Demand Action held their annual advocacy day at the State House to let lawmakers know they are united in the fight against gun violence. The women dressed in red to find a way to end violence, not just in Indiana, but across our country. Our Kelsey Anderson has more from the State House.
I just couldn't sit on the sidelines and say, golly gee, I hope somebody fixes this.
Kathy Weinman joined the group Moms Demand Action 5 years ago.
I know from my own experience that if you're going to change something, you have to try to do it yourself.
She wants to see changes to Indiana gun laws, not for herself, but for her children and her grandchildren. According to the Centers for Disease Control, in 2017, firearms were the #2 killer of children and teens in the United States.
Now, you think about that and you think, you mean beyond cancer and diabetes and heart disease and birth defects? Yes, gun violence. #2 killer across the board.
The plan today at the State House for Moms Demand Action was to be seen and heard by lawmakers.
We could make phone calls and send letters and get our message across. But being there in that State House, especially in our red T-shirts, is very powerful and makes a lasting impression.
Weinman says they want to make sure lawmakers really understand the bills that they're voting on in relation to gun violence.
Whether I'm successful or not, whether our group is successful or not, or to what degree we're successful, only time will tell. But at least I can look at my grandchildren and say, I'm trying.
Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Weinman says she still wants to see a law passed that requires safe storage for guns. Democratic Senator Mark Stoops has introduced Senate Bill 29. It would require guns to be secured if a child could gain access to it, if someone lives in the home who is prohibited from possessing a firearm, and if someone lives in the home who possesses an imminent risk to themselves or to others. He could be the toughest challenger for State Attorney General Curtis Hill. Today, the Commissioner of Indiana's Department of Revenue, Adam Krupp, made his candidacy for Attorney General official. Krupp says he will leave the state's revenues office immediately to focus on his campaign. He is the second Republican to challenge Hill following allegations that Hill groped a state lawmaker and 3 other women at a bar in March of 2018. While he didn't use Hill's name, Krupp did make allusions to the scandal.
I walked away from each of those interactions realizing that what Hoosiers are seeking from Indiana's Attorney General can be summed up in 3 words: leadership, integrity, and results.
State Republican Party members will choose their Attorney General nominee in June. Hill is still awaiting a ruling from the state Supreme Court on whether he will face punishment for his alleged sexual misconduct. New this midday, another Democratic presidential candidate is out of the race. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker announced today he is leaving the race in which he was once seen as a potential frontrunner. Booker had failed to qualify for the most recent Democratic debates, including tomorrow's debate. That's the last one before the Iowa caucuses. Booker's departure now leaves a Democratic field that was once the most diverse in history, with only one African-American candidate, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick.
It's the final countdown.
Classic rock fans rejoice. Some big concert announcements today from Ruoff Music Center in Noblesville. First, the final countdown is on as the Jukebox Heroes Tour is coming. Foreigner will headline the show. They'll be joined by Europe, best known for, of course, the final countdown. And classic rock legends Kansas will also play. The Jukebox Heroes Tour comes to Ruoff on July 25th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. And tickets also go on sale Friday for another big show announced today. A huge band in the 90s, Matchbox 20, bringing its 2020 tour to Central Indiana. They will also play the Ruoff Music Center. They'll be joined by another big act from the 90s, the Wallflowers, led by Jacob Dylan, the son of Bob Dylan. That show will be held on Saturday, August 22nd. It's easy nowadays to find a pet online. It's also easy to find a shady character that wants to take your money. Next, how to protect yourself if you're shopping for a feathered friend. It's also time for some hoops. In fact, that's her name. We'll be joined by one of the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters as they get set for their annual visit to the field house. Todd.
And the above normal temperatures will continue here throughout much of this upcoming week. Our normal high is 35 degrees. We'll be above that today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. With the warmth, once again, comes the chance of some rain. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
The Bachelor, new tonight on ABC.
It's time now for another RTV6 Consumer Alert. I'm joined by the Better Business Bureau's Tim Maniscalco. And Tim, people might be looking for a new pet bird. You were just telling me that exotic birds are really popular pets right now. But unfortunately, scammers are in tune to that, and they're taking advantage.
Yeah, this is very similar to these puppy scams that we've talked about before, where they will put puppies, or in this case, it's these exotic birds, things like parrots and macaws that look like, hey, boy, that'd be a nice bird if you're kind of in the market for a bird. And the problem with this is, like you said, birds are getting more popular, and these things tend to be pretty expensive, so you're talking about, you know, a lot of money here, several $1,000s sometimes for these birds. And what happens is you'll go on these websites, say, hey, I want to get this, and it's just a fake website. These birds don't exist. They're just taking pictures from other websites, really similar to the puppy scams. But we do see a lot of this now with these kind of animals. So number one, just you want to actually visit and talk to the breeder. You know, don't be doing something online for something like this. Search for the warning websites. A lot of these websites come from outside the country. There's misspellings. They don't say things the way and word things the way that we do. You want to actually go and get the animal yourself, particularly a bird. You know, it's really tough to kind of ship a bird around the world. So you really want to make certain that you do it and just check the references of anybody. But we are seeing a little bit of a rise of this, particularly in this particular area with avian species, these very exotic sort of birds. And once again, this is pretty high dollar stuff. These things cost several $1,000s. So, you know, you're putting a lot of money at risk here, and the scammers know that. So just watch out. These birds look great, but they don't exist.
Okay, good to know, Tim. Thanks so much. This has been another RTV6 Consumer Alert. The Oscar nominees are no joke. Coming up next, the rundown of who will be in the running for the Golden Trophies, a big year for a Batman villain, and how Netflix is making history.
And Keller, right now.
After months of speculation, we finally know who is in the running for the Oscars. The nominees in the 24 Oscar categories were announced live on Good Morning America today. ABC's Romina Puga breaks it all down for us.
Is this a joke to you?
The Joker took the most nominations with 11, including one for Best Picture. It'll compete for the top prize with Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. The South Korean thriller is only the 6th film to ever be recognized for both Best Picture and Best Foreign Language Film.
What I love about Nicole,
for leading men, Adam Driver nominated 2 years in a row, this year for his role in Marriage Story. Also getting the Best Actor nod, Joaquin Phoenix for The Joker, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, and The Two Popes' Jonathan Pryce.
The kids need a home, Judy.
I know what kids need.
In the Best Actress category, Renee Zellweger coming off her Golden Globe win for Judy, along with Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Little Women's Saoirse Ronan, Charlize Theron from Bombshell, and Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story.
I love my country. It's a war I hate.
Johansson's chances of bringing home an award doubled, as she's also nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Jojo Rabbit.
Hi, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Martin Scorsese receiving his 9th Best Director nod for The Irishman, in good company with Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite.
Our friend speaks very highly of you.
The Irishman's Joe Pesci and Al Pacino both on the list for Best Supporting Actor, the first time for the legendary film stars since the early 90s. The show is going hostless again this year, a decision that raised viewership last year. Be sure to tune in to see who wins big on Sunday, February 9th on ABC. Romina Puga, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Don't forget, the only place you can see the Oscars is right here. It all happens Sunday night, February 9th. The Oscars live on the red carpet airs at 6:30, followed by the Academy Awards at 8 o'clock. And once again, it is only on RTV6. We are taking a live look right now from the IMS Pagoda. A cloudy day out there. The good news, Todd, no rain falling from those clouds, which I think is a relief for people across central Indiana.
Yeah, you know, we needed a break. We'll get a break today, tomorrow, Wednesday. There's a few showers in the forecast, but nothing major. It's the end of the week that's going to be an issue. We'll quickly touch on these river flood warnings, and all the major rivers here in central Indiana are pretty much at or just above flood stage. They're expected to crest here throughout the afternoon hours, and they should start to fall as we go into tomorrow and beyond. But again, the wild card is going to be the rain that we're expecting at the end of the week. Storm Team 6 radar right now is completely quiet. We had a little bit of patchy drizzle earlier this morning. Going forward, I think we're just dealing with the clouds, which should start to thin a little bit. We're never going to get rid of them. We're never going to bounce into bright blue skies here throughout the day today. But the clouds, by thinning just a little bit, will allow the temperatures to start to moderate. We've been holding pretty steady throughout much of the morning hours. Any significant precipitation well to our south, or there's some snow showers making their way through parts of Michigan. Officially at the airport in Indianapolis right now, we sit at 38 degrees, just a light wind at the south-southwest at 5 miles per hour. And there are some 40s down to our south. Bloomington at 40, 42 in Bedford, 37 in Tipton. Peru sitting at 36 degrees. And highs today will be pretty late in the day. They're probably not going to occur until closer to 4 o'clock, and that should be right around 45, 46 degrees here in the city, and points to the south, slightly cooler to the north, about 40 degrees your high temperature in Peru. Tomorrow, added sunshine. With the added sunshine, temperatures a little bit warmer, climbing up into the low 50s for most of us, with skies that'll be partly sunny across the area. It's another dry day. It's another day where the temperatures are running above that normal high of 35 degrees. And as we go forward in this forecast, Wednesday I mentioned the chance of a few showers. Anything we see should be very, very light. There could be a brief period of a wintry mix as that starts, but not expecting any issues. And then mostly cloudy on a Thursday. And then we get to Friday and the potential for some heavier rain. Now, as that storm system comes in on Friday, it's not out of the question during the afternoon hours. It could start as a little bit of a wintry mix. We'll have to keep an eye on the timing of that. I'm not expecting big issues at this point, but it's something that bears watching. But then eventually the warmer air takes over, and then overnight Saturday, Friday into Saturday rather, it is just mainly a rain event. And then on the backside of it, once again, it ends as a little bit of a wintry mix. But if there was any issue for the wintry mix, it was going to be at the onset of that system, not what's behind. But here's the bigger issue, potentially another 1 to 2 inches of rainfall here across the area over the weekend, which will start to aggravate the flooding situation just a little bit. But you notice those temperatures on the mild side until Sunday. Once we get to Sunday, that's when winter returns for several days. Sunday's high is only 31 degrees.
It is that time time again. The world-famous Harlem Globetrotters are coming back to Indy. They make the trip here every year for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And this year they are playing 2 games this coming holiday weekend at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. With me is Bree Hoops Green. She is in her 4th year as a Harlem Globetrotter. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about being a Harlem Globetrotter, and for the folks at home who've maybe never come to a game and experienced what it's all about. Give us a little insight.
So of course you'll see the high-flying dunks, the trick shots, the amazing ball handling. But this year the tour is called Pushing the Limit. So we're taking our game to another level. So throughout the game, someone will be attempting to break a record, a world trick shot.
Wow.
We have a 5th quarter. We have the 4-point line, 30 feet away from the basket, and we have our magic circle routine, which is our famous pregame ball handling, and we'll be doing that in the dark with a glow-in-the-dark basketball.
And speaking of trick shots,
yes,
you guys are notorious for doing things that no one has ever done before. Let's talk a little bit about this. Who is this guy? And wow, I don't think many people would be able to do that.
I don't think so either. This is Hammer. He jumped out of a plane. He set the bar. I don't think anybody can top
literally
this.
Set the bar very, very high.
Very high. I don't know. He's just crazy. You know, he's an amazing athlete, but just to have the courage to jump out of a plane and dunk it is a lot.
Yes, yeah, and actually make it in the basket. I mean, I think a lot of people would be close, but
it's crazy.
There he goes. Pretty impressive. Now, you won't be doing quite anything like that this coming weekend, but still something great for the entire family to come out to and experience. And the great thing about Globetrotters games is you guys interact with all the kids that come. This is a great event for the whole family.
Yeah, it doesn't matter your age. It's for the entire family. Everybody enjoys it. And like you said, we love interacting with our fans, so that's where the 5th quarter comes in. So basically that means the fans can come out onto the court and sign autographs, take pictures, interact with the team, and just meet their favorite Globetrotter. We love our fans.
Wonderful. Well, if people are interested in snagging some tickets for this weekend, where do they need to go?
You can go to harlemglobetrotters.com. Get your tickets now.
Thanks so much, Bree.
Right,
we'll leave you here with some cool moves from Hoops.
Yeah.
And we hope you head out to Bankers Life to see the Harlem Globetrotters in action this weekend.
Group, the strength to make a difference.
This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
I'm Ted Rollins. Today on Court TV, it is the 2nd week of jury selection in the Harvey Weinstein rape trial. More than 80 women have come forward with claims of sexual assault or harassment against Weinstein. The New York case, however, centers around 2 women. One claims she was raped by Weinstein in a New York hotel room in 2013. The other says Weinstein forcibly performed a sex act on her at his Manhattan apartment in 2006. If convicted, Weinstein could spend the rest of his life in prison. We are also covering the Zombie Con murder trial in Fort Myers, Florida, which gets underway today. Jose Bonilla is accused of opening fire into a crowd in 2015 at an event called Zombie Con. That video, obviously, of the shooting. 20-year-old Terrell Taylor was killed in the shooting. Several others were injured. Bonilla is facing life in prison if convicted. We'll have complete coverage of both trials, plus other legal news throughout the day on Court TV. Now back to you.
Ted, thanks. You can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. Todd.
All right, the clouds hang pretty tough here this afternoon with temperatures climbing into the mid-40s. Tomorrow a little warmer with partly sunny skies up to 55. A few showers possible on Wednesday. The better rain chances will be this weekend where we could see another 1 to maybe 2 inches of rain. If you're looking for winter, it arrives Sunday and then it's around much of next week.
All right, Todd, thank you. And thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Monday.